So sometimes you work an accident case where you want to download the data in the at-fault driver's vehicle. Here's a quick snippet of a phone call of an accident reconstructionist I talked to about downloading the data. If the truck was originally hit by a car that lost control and then hit by the 18-wheeler, would the data still reflect like each impact?
So those Fords can record up to like 3 events. So you could have like the initial event, and then during the control loss you could maybe set another event, and then the last impact could set another. So you could have several events stored in the Ford. Like let's say it sideswiped the other vehicle and it didn't set the airbags off, but when it loses control, comes to rest, then gets hit by the semi, that sets off all the airbags. That should set an event in the Ford.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then if we have that data, then we can estimate the weight of the other truck and figure out the weights. It's all kind of a gamble, to be honest, because you don't know what you're getting until you check it out.
All right, let's talk. Typically, this happens in commercial vehicle accidents where 18-wheeler and other commercial trucks are involved. Most of these vehicles have something called a black box or another name for it, but it basically provides data of how fast somebody was going upon impact, if they braked before the impact. Sometimes it will show the steering angle of the vehicle and many other things. The big one, though, that we would want to find out in this specific accident case that I'm working right now is how fast was the vehicle driving at the time of impact. Because if you could find out what the current speed limit is on that specific road, and you could prove that the other driver was driving way above the speed limit, then you can make the case that had they been going the speed limit, they could have avoided this accident altogether. Not to mention, sometimes vehicles look a lot better than the accident really was. So if you can get a download on a vehicle that shows they were going 90 miles an hour and the insurance company is saying, well, there's not a lot of damage there, you could come back and be like, they were hit going 90 miles an hour. So there's a lot of ins and outs to go into with these accident downloads, and you want to make sure that you only do them on cases that can support it. For example, if I'm working a case where the value of that case is $15,000 to $20,000, but to hire an accident reconstructionist to do a complete download on the vehicle is going to cost me $5,000 to $10,000, doesn't really make sense to do it. You know, this situation comes up a lot where people call me and they're like, man, if you could download that data in that vehicle and prove that they were driving over the speed limit and they're the ones that were at fault for this accident, you know, this whole thing could be flipped around. And then it's like, yeah, but you're saying you don't have any injuries, or, you know, you only went to the hospital and you're done. You don't want to pursue anything else. You know, it could cost us more money to pay for the accident reconstructionist than the value of your case could be. And then it's like, okay, great, we proved that the other driver's at fault, but you're kind of still in the hole because of how much money it costs to do this. So you've got to really do it by a case-by-case basis. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to do it. Sometimes it does. As I was talking to this gentleman on the phone, we discussed maybe the person who owns this vehicle, their company will do the download themselves, and then they could share that information with us, or we can have our own expert review their download and give their expertise based upon what they're sharing with us. So this is the fun, investigative, interesting side of car accidents. And I love getting involved in this. I love, you know, handling cases where I get to do things like this. So I have a buddy who's a police officer as well. He's very involved in it. So I get to hear some things from him sometimes. Anyway, I hope this video has been entertaining or educational to you. If you didn't know that you could do things like that, now you do. If you'd like a free case evaluation, feel free to reach out anytime. God bless you and have a good day.